A beautiful article written by 𝗀𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗃 that describes our situation. All that he says are true. And at the end, how does he end? He says, how long do we continue to hope for reform? Okay, only time will tell. Now, the thing is, we all know what happened in the elections. No coalition mustered the necessary numbers to form the government. Palace intervened, and therefore the arrangement of the unity government, first ever in Malaysia's political history, happened. And we have a PM of a unity government, which until today, most Malaysians cannot grasp the concept of unity government. The concept of where the unity government is made up of three major component coalitions with other parties, and therefore, because they all lend numbers to each other to make up the government, they all have a say, they all have a decision, and the decision does not just reside with the Prime Minister alone, unlike the previous governments. So now, this Prime Minister, to be in power, and for all the other leaders to remain in power, they have to do a certain juggling. They have to be compromises. They cannot go for what they believe is the ideals of their respective parties. They can't even deliver fully on their promises because their promises may run foul of each other's promises. So there is a balancing act. And indeed, what Shankar says is that reform agenda cannot be the priority because what they have to blend in is appeasement. How to appease people that are facing financial difficulty, the economy, the ailing economy. People want to see progress. People want to be appeased by the government. And reform, there's a cost to reform. So it is not true to say that there's no reforms. There are reforms. There are things that's being dug up. People are being the MACC, the enforcement are going after people, but then again, which people? Notice the selectiveness. Now, in the case of Anwar as the PM, that balancing act includes, what reforms he can do now, and what reforms can't be done now, and what reforms can be done only later. Now, opportunity will present itself through time. So for now, going after Muhyiddin, there's no cost to the government. PAS, these are the adversaries. Now, going after UMNO, kleptocrats, this will be more complicated, but in any case, we don't expect this government, more so PM10, to compromise on its principles. Example, interfering with the judiciary to let Zahid escape scot-free, or releasing Najib from jail. This will not be acceptable to me as a rakyat Malaysia. As a citizen, that is a betrayal to reform. I can accept delays, protracted reforms due to necessity for the government to stay in power. Because if the government doesn't stay in power, it falls apart. Therefore, all dreams of reforms ends there. So the juggling between surviving and reforming. Therefore, a smart Prime Minister and astute government will reform to the extent they can while staying in power, while surviving. With the survival lifeline in place, they reform to the extent they can. And that also will serve to appease the public. But as they progress, there will be a threshold on what kind of reform that can be achieved, simply because look at the composition of the government coalition. So therefore, I am commenting this in furtherance to what Shankar is saying, is that, how long do we have to wait? Well, rather than looking at the glass and see that it's half empty, look at the glass that is already half full. Has there not been any reforms? I've seen quite many, and we have a lot to be thankful and grateful for. And we should be celebrating those and expecting some more of those. I agree with Shankar that pressure, we should continue to pressure, but the current Prime Minister and the government must continue to balance. They must decide now what reforms they can afford to not crack up and ruin the unity government such that it falls to the hands of the adversaries, and what they cannot afford not to reform, simply because we have to stop the rut in the government. So therein is the situation, the predicament, and I think as rakyat we should support and we should be patient, not greedy for immediate outcome, immediate reforms, but we can be contributing idea rather than whining. We can contribute to ideas on what can be done now that will not threaten the unity of this government.
Do not forget to click like and leave a comment and share this video with your friends if you enjoy it.